Hello and welcome everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Jennifer Dennis with Hamilton NG911 and I'm pleased to be moderating today's webinar. The emergency services industry faces its largest challenge in decades, upgrading a 911 system to accommodate the public's reliance on mobile devices. When it comes to communication with 911, there are important distinctions to be made about the variety of accessible text options. Text solutions and what they mean for NG911 is presented by Toni Dunne of the Hamilton NG911 team. If you have questions during today's presentation, please go ahead and type them into the question box in the control panel, and we will revisit those and take additional questions at the end. So some background information to get us started about Hamilton NG911. Hamilton NG911 is a leading provider of next-generation 911 core services, allowing emergency communications networks to accommodate modern communication methods. Hamilton NG911 is a division of Hamilton Telecommunications. Founded in 1901, Hamilton now encompasses 8 primary company divisions that provide telecommunications and technology solutions on a local, regional, and national basis. Hamilton provides contracted traditional relay and caption telephone services in 18 states and provides many of our services nationwide. So let's go ahead and get started with the information that most directly affects you. Today's panelist is Toni Dunne. Toni is the National Account Manager for Hamilton NG911 and brings more than 30 years of industry experience to today's webinar. So thanks so much, Toni, for being here today, and I will let you take it from here.
Thank you, Jennifer, and I'm really happy to be here today to share some very important information on text solutions for NG911. Since the beginning of my career in public safety and coincidentally the passage of the ADA in 1990, I've been an advocate for direct and equal access for people who are deaf, deafblind, hard of hearing, and those who have speech difficulties. While today's webinar addresses text solutions that are clearly needed for this population, text, as we know, is also for everyone. So let's look at what we're going to be covering today. We will look at the accessibility needs for individuals to communicate with 911 and garner a better understanding of the various modalities of text communications. We'll also explore the existing solutions that are available to be implemented in PSAPs, and we'll talk about the impact on PSAPs and what next steps the PSAPs can take to provide a quality level of service for all. So the goal of NG911 is to make 911 functional with all forms of communication. We know that in a crisis, people go to and use what they know best. So it's important for everybody to be able to communicate in the way that they are most accustomed. In fact, the National Emergency Number Association's vision is the NG911 system will be available to respond anytime, anywhere, and any device in order to realize the full potential for 911 to provide public access to emergency services. And text is often viewed as that first step towards NG911. We also know that smartphone use and text communication is commonplace for almost everyone, and that NG911 enhances the ease of access for individuals with accessibility needs. So with accessibility advancements and just advancements in technology in general, TTY usage is on the decline as this population adopts mainstream mobile devices. Unfortunately, this has left a gap in 911 service availability. According to the FCC's PSAP registry, only about 28% of the country has SMS text to 911, leaving many without the ability or even a safe way to call for help. So let's take a look at the text platforms and their differences. This slide shows those different types of text platforms. We have 3. First is TTY, or teletypewriter. Then we have SMS, or short message service, and RTT, which is real-time text. And not all of these services are alike, so let's look at each one independently. The first one is text telephone. Well, we know them as TTYs, or you may also know them as a TDD, but essentially they're a text telephone. And TTYs are old. Baud-O, which is used on a TTY, was invented in 1870. It has worked fairly well over the years, but over analog phone networks. They are half duplex, which require turn taking and a particular etiquette that we use, such as GA and SK, to help both parties in the conversation process. With the ADA and the Department of Justice's mandate to 911 to have TTY capability at each call-taking position, we soon saw that TTYs in PSAPs and then integrated into the 911 equipment, TTYs and their computer telephone systems. And this would be the very first time that citizens, hearing and deaf, could have equal access to 911 services directly. At the same time of the mandates from DOJ, the ADA also had provisions that states were required to provide relay services and process any emergency calls that they got directly to 911 when needed. There's some notable limitations in addition to turn taking with TTYs. It's slow at a 45.5 baud rate. A typist can easily outtype the buffer capacity built into that machine. And as I mentioned before, there's a decline in usage of TTYs, and it is expected that they will eventually be at end of life, making maintaining this equipment operability a challenge. So just as citizens are advancing their phone technology, so are our telecommunication providers. We are moving to a digital world and a different way to send text, such as SMS. Let's look at that slide. So SMS is also known in our industry as text to 911. It's currently the most widely known and used form of text communication, and it provides a modern way for individuals who are deaf, deafblind, hard of hearing, or have difficulty speaking to reach 911. Because of its popularity, there has been a lot of work done to educate the public on two things. One, it's not everywhere, and in which case you will receive a bounce back message if it's not in your location. And two, it's better to call if you can. The North Central Texas 911 District organized a focus group a while back with members from the deaf community and charged them with coming up with a message that would be appropriate for both hearing and the deaf community. And they came up with call if you can, text if you can't. And it's become the national message for TTY to 911 campaigns. Many of you may use this or have seen it, at least in our industry. Unlike TTY turn taking, SMS is a store and forward technology, and both parties can type and send messages at the same time. However, there are notable limitations with SMS too. Messages can arrive out of sequence. One must hit send or press or push the message out. There is no voice component of this type of contact. And since it has not yet been uniformly implemented across the nation, citizens will get that bounce back message in non-text areas, and the verbiage that they get will vary depending upon carriers. It does have a limited character set, and most of these limitations are not found in our next text platform, which is RealTime Text. This logo that you see on the right side of the screen is the nationally adopted logo for meaning real-time text. So it's similar to what we have seen in the past for TTY, a black lined square with the logo inside. It's important for us to look at the differences between RTT and SMS text to 911. So RTT has been designed to be reliable over IP networks. It's standards-based, and it also follows the NENA I3 standards. It allows voice and text simultaneously. So essentially, this is a wireless voice call with a text component. And this is really important. This is a really important capability for 911 because you'll be able to hear background noises while someone is typing to you, giving you added information for that particular incident. Characters are transmitted instantly, thus the term real time. It provides for bidirectional transmission of the text at the same time. Again, this is another important capability that you haven't had with TTY. You would be able to send or interrupt a message if you needed the caller to respond to a question. This wireless call with RTT is going to provide the same level of location support you get with any wireless call. So that's another important and benefit to real-time text. It has an unlimited character set, and it is the fastest text response available. However, until PSAPs can receive RTT, carriers must convert RTT to TTY, which can be confusing to the caller since they think that they're in RTT mode and can type, and they think that they can type at the same time. And since it's been converted to TTY currently, you have to follow the turn-taking model. Native end-to-end RTT is more closely related to a voice over LTE or VoLTE than it is with SMS. It provides new capabilities to desegment the population that it's reliant on text communications, making it really valuable for all of us. RTT, I want to point out, does not replace SMS. It's recommended that RTT is adopted alongside SMS to ensure greater accessibility to 911. I have a matrix here to show you the differences of these three text platforms side by side to give you a more complete understanding. So if you'll look on the left-hand side, it shows the component that we're comparing, and then across the top, TTY, SMS, and real-time text. And so the very first one, obviously, the media type is Botto tones with TTY, and it has the capability of voice carryover and hearing carryover, as does real-time text, and text to 911 only provides a text capability. And as you go through this, you can see TTY is character at a time as well as real-time text, but SMS is block mode. We have to take turns with TTY, but there's no turn taking required on either SMS or real-time text. We've already mentioned about the store and forward on the SMS platform, and in real-time text, it is real-time. And so as you go down this list, you can see, those comparisons and why there are some similarities, but there are some differences as well. And when you look at real-time text, it is really the IP replacement for the old technology of TTY, and it provides more capabilities than SMS text to 911. So since 2011, the Hamilton team has been involved with supporting RTT in the industry. We've had a number of educational sessions at various conferences around the states. We did an educational session at the FCC's PSAP Education Day, the NG911 Institute, and more. And NENA's Operation and Logistics Real-Time Text Working Group, which I co-chair, is developing a document that will include information to help PSAP's awareness towards the technical and operational needs of RTT. And one such operational issue pertains to silent calls. So that's what you see on your slide. We want to talk to you a little bit about this. As I mentioned earlier, real-time text is delivered as a wireless voice call. And when you answer, you may not think about this wireless call as having someone who is trying to communicate with you via text. In the past, wireless calls could have been in TTY mode, but not many people used their phones this way. And while the ADA mandated that PSAPs must challenge all silent open line calls, this policy may not have been implemented for wireless calls. Now that we have over 80% of calls to 911 that are wireless and carriers have implemented RTT, PSAPs need to challenge wireless open line calls as well. If BOTO tones are present on the line, then your equipment will auto-detect and open your TTY screen. However, if it's a silent open line call, it could be a call initiated as an RTT call that has been converted to TTY. The frequencies of such calls may likely increase as RTT becomes more readily adopted. So this is why we needed to speak about this, and let's see what an accommodating RTT device might look like for a PSAP. This is the Hamilton IP phone. It is an IP-based phone system supporting voice and real-time text. It's specifically designed for PSAPs and can be used to complement existing PSAP equipment, software, and networks. We have a closer look at a screenshot, so let's move to that slide. So on the right-hand side is the screenshot of the phone. It's highly configurable, so I want to make sure that you understand that this screen view is just one way that it may look. So there could be other versions depending upon what the PSAP's needs are. RTT is integrated, and as you can see here on the right side of the screen, and the phone is reliable and secure for 911 call handling. It provides the essential components and information that's needed to effectively handle 911 calls, such as your anti-alley and detail screen. It has map views that we can zoom in and out of. We can rebid. We can transfer and conference calls. We can call back. We have call history capability. And additionally, it supports SMS and MMS technology and includes premium audio and video quality. So PSAPs can use this IP phone in a number of ways. A PSAP could use it in a mobile command unit, for example, and at those call-taking positions in the mobile command center. It can provide for overflow capabilities when an incident creates overwhelming call volumes. And it can address common challenges PSAPs may face with outages or disaster events as a failover or backup solution. In this scenario, call-taking functionalities are not lost, so it's an ideal solution for your continuity plans. The Hamilton IP phone allows everyone to communicate with 911 in the way that they are accustomed to communicating, so including that SMS and RTT. Let's look at the next slide. This screen is the map view on the phone. We just wanted to open it up a little bit bigger so that you could see. This is a touch screen phone, and so when you touch the map tab, it opens for a larger map view, and you can use two fingers to expand or minimize the map at any time. You'll also notice at the bottom you have call handling functions and have the ability to go back to other screen views or have two windows side by side. And if you're on an RTT call but have changed the view away from RTT, when someone types, the RTT window will be seen again on the screen. So you don't lose your caller's communication when they are typing or when you are typing. The phone is also compatible with USB keyboards and headsets. And just a note, we've worked with PSAP personnel to ensure that this IP phone has the critical functionality needed for your solution. So let's look at the next steps. 3 of the big 4 carriers, that's AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon, have opted in and met the FCC's deadline to provide RTT capability. the FCC has also set a 2021 deadline for all wireless carriers to implement RTT. So that being said, it's incumbent on PSAPs to understand that RTT is here today and to take action. So for those of you who are planning for equipment or system upgrades, you should include RTT in your RFPs. Define what that should look like from the call handling aspect and not just to meet the technical standard. If you're not replacing equipment, you should request your equipment providers to include RTT in their next update. But all of that focus is on the future. In order to meet the needs of our citizens today, PSAP should consider immediately implementing an RTT solution that would also serve as a continuity solution. So you are welcome to schedule an exclusive demo of the Hamilton IP phone to get you started with RTT capabilities today. And once you have that capability, you'll give notice to the carriers, and they have up to 6 months to deliver native RTT to you. This is similar to the process of requesting SMS text delivery as well. There are resources available. Just go to hamiltonng911.com and drop down the Services tab and click RTT. From that page, you'll see several items related to today's webinar. There's an RTT video, a clip from the FCC RTT PSAP Education Day, and we also have an RTT white paper available to download from our website. So please feel free to explore and share this critical information with your colleagues. And that's all I have. Jennifer, do you want to open it up for questions now?
Sure. Thanks so much, Toni. We will go ahead and transition now to questions. A reminder from earlier, please be sure to type your questions into the question box in your control panel. And it looks like we have some questions that we'll take a look at now. The first question says, does Montana Highway Patrol use RTT?
So today, all RTT calls are being converted to TTY because the agencies have yet to implement RTT capabilities, and I would presume that would be the case for Montana as well. Although I do know that there are a lot of people in the process of looking at how they can implement RTT.
Cool. Thanks, Toni. Our next question says, is location tracking available with SMS?
So that's a good question. Today, not all SMS solutions provide location. However, native RTT will provide the same level of location support that any wireless call delivers. And so that's a maybe on the SMS, but a definite with native RTT.
Okay, thanks, Toni. Could you provide more information on silent open line calls? More specifically, how TTY tones come into play on RTT calls arriving to a PSAP that doesn't yet accommodate RTT?
Okay, let's see. Well, some carriers may provide tones upon conversion when the call is delivered to the PSAP and answered. And in that case, with those tones, when they're present on the line, the call handling equipment detection will open the TTY screen, and then it will be ready for you to be able to type back and forth. However, carriers delivering tones is not a guarantee. So I'm aware that some do and some don't.
Okay, so just to make sure that our listeners are understanding, Toni, you're saying that when the call taker receives a RTT call, then TTY tones may not be present and the call may be silent. So overall, this reinforces the need for call takers to always challenge those open line calls.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Toni, what would you say is the biggest barrier for RTT integration at the PSAP level?
Another good question. Okay. Well, the carriers are not obligated to send RTT until the PSAPs have the capability of receiving RTT. And call handling equipment providers know that there's a need for RTT capability, but where that is on their roadmap varies. So it may be a very long time before they have something for the PSAP. Also, PSAPs will need to make sure that the functionality that their vendors are developing is what is needed for their call handling processes. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. So PSAPs will eventually have RTT capability, but do you have suggestions, Toni, as to what they can do today?
Sure. Well, we know that citizens are able to use RTT today, and it's leaving a gap in 911 services. So Hamilton's IP phone with the RTT is a solution that's designed to complement existing setups, and it serves as a failover or backup once the primary call handling equipment has been upgraded. So I think that that is something that could be done today to be able to receive RTT natively into the PSAP. And remember, once you have that capability, then you can turn on the time clock, and the carriers then will have the 6 months to deliver native RTT to your PSAP.
Okay. Thanks, Toni. We have one final question for today's webinar, and it says, I saw the demo of your RTT phone solution at the NENA conference and understand that there's a lot of flexibility to that product based on an agency's needs. If I'm interested in further exploring implementation for my PSAP, what are the next steps?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for visiting us. Just contact us to set up a meeting so we can begin the discovery process on how this solution can be configured to best fit your needs. And if you haven't seen the IP phone, we would be happy to set up an exclusive demo for you. Just again, contact us through the website or give us a call or email. I can be reached at Toni, Toni, Dunne, Dunne, at hamiltontel.com, and we can schedule a time.
Great, thanks so much, Toni. And it looks like we've covered all of the questions. So thank you, everyone. We really appreciate your time. And be sure to click over to hamiltonng911.com for more information on our core services and more. Like Toni said, we do have additional resources available, such as the white paper highlighting the details and timelines surrounding real-time text. And if you'd like to get your hands on that, please let us know, and we'd be happy to send it your way. And lastly, we will make the recording of this webinar available for replay, and we'll send that out to you a bit later in the week. The email will also provide an opportunity to provide feedback. So thanks again so much for joining us today, and we will see you next time.